move to open the Town of Marshfield Conservation Commission meeting of February 19th, 2025. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Our first order of business is minutes. Did everyone have a chance to look them over, and did anyone have any edits or comments? Okay, I had one small edit on 12/18. So I move to approve the minutes from December 18th, 2024 as edited, and the minutes of January 8th, 2025 and January 22nd, 2025 as written. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We'll vote on continuances later, but I will just note that both 50 Cove Street and 17 Oregon Road are continued and will not be heard tonight. Our first hearing is a new one. I will read the legal ad. In compliance with the regulations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Code of the Town of Marshfield, Chapter 294, Wetlands Protection, a public hearing will be held by the Marshfield Conservation Commission on Wednesday, February 19th, 2025, to consider the request for determination of applicability filed for 119 Monitor Road, and the hearing officer is Commissioner Platt.
Okay. Mike, can you confirm that administrative requirements have been met on this?
Yes, all administrative requirements have been met.
Okay, thank you. All right, this work, it's located within land subject to coastal storm flowage, zone AE9, and in the buffer zone to a bordering vegetated wetland. Do we have someone on Zoom that's going to present this? Doesn't look like, I don't think so.
I don't see anybody on there. I can speak to this if you'd like.
If you want to, sure.
Yeah. So this is a deck replacement. The current deck off the rear of the home, as you can see here, is becoming rather aged. So they'd like to replace it. Instead of concrete sonotubes replacement, they're proposing helical piles, which is a good idea considering this is a flood zone as well. Other than that, it's within buffer zone to bordering vegetated wetland, and within land subject to coast storm flowage. It is a 1-for-1 square footage replacement of the deck there.
Thank you. Okay, I don't know if commissioners were able to look at this one, or do you have any comments on it? Anyone on Zoom in the public have any comments on this one? Okay, yeah, it's a 1-to-1 replacement, and like you said, helical piles is a good option for this. So I'm gonna move to close the hearing then, and issue a determination of applicability with a +5 and -2, Mike?
Yep.
Okay. Can I have a second, please?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Okay. Next up, we have Old Ocean Street, also a new hearing. In compliance with the regulations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Code of the Town of Marshfield, Chapter 294, Wetlands Protection, a public hearing will be held by the Marshfield Conservation Commission on February 19th, 2025, to consider the notice of intent filed for 65 Monitor Road, and the hearing officer is Commissioner O'Donnell.
Thank you. Mike, we're all set with the administrative requirements?
Yes, administrative requirements have been met for this project.
Okay. This is to build a house on an undeveloped wooded lot with some ledge outcroppings. All work is 100 feet beyond the buffer zone in the river. It's in 100 to 200 feet from the river. it is, the project will be impacted by species, endangered species. I see Paul, that's you up there, Paul, I think? You
Yep.
want?
Yeah.
I think so far I started off correctly, but why don't you take over and share some thoughts on the project?
Sure. Do I need to share my screen, or do you have the plan up there?
I see the plot plan up there.
I
Yep.
can pull up a full plot plan. Just one moment.
That's fine. For the record, my name is Paul Seabrook from Grady Consulting. That'll be fine. So this is a notice of intent for a single-family house project located at 0 Old Ocean Street. This project consists of assessors parcels 08, 05, 05, and 06. The total area of the property is 46,034 square feet. Currently, this site consists of an existing wooded lot with ledge outcroppings shown throughout. It is bordered by Old Ocean Street to the south and Cross Street to the west. And it's also, the majority of the site is within a ESP priority habitat. The applicant is proposing to construct a 3-bedroom, single-family home with a septic system and driveway, shown here. Showing the plan. All proposed work is located outside of the 100-foot buffer zone. The closest area of disturbance is the limit of clearing near the proposed driveway, which is 116 feet from the resource area. We're proposing a silt sock erosion control barrier between the resource area and the proposed work. With that said, I'd be happy to answer any questions the commission may have.
Okay, thank you, Paul. So, clearly the development, the house and the septic system is beyond the 100-foot riverfront area. I think the two, I don't say issues, but the two topics that seem to be of greatest interest was the requirement, the NHESP requirement, which I believe you have met, right, by notifying the state and the state?
Yes, so we did notify the state. We submitted the notice of intent plans to NHESP. We're still waiting for their review, which we haven't received at this time. We did consult with them prior to the design on this project, just to verify that it's okay. We submitted a preliminary review with them for the construction of actually 2 single-family dwellings here. And their response was they wouldn't result in a take of the priority habitat. So essentially, their preliminary review would have no impacts if we were to develop 2 single-family house lots here, which we're only proposing to do 1. But we still haven't received their comments yet for the proposal.
So, Mike, how does that affect our deliberations tonight? If they haven't received the final comments yet?
So typically when this occurs, we condition it in the special conditions to observe all comments from the NHESP. Also, the species in question in this area would be the eastern box turtle, which is not endangered but is a species of special concern. In the past, I've seen contractors use siltation fencing, ensuring that it's well established on the bottom with no gaps, typically reinforced by something like a silt sock, so that it creates a barrier around the site and does 2 parts, preventing erosion and also keeping box turtles out of the construction site.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that because when we built in Marshfield 6-7 years ago, that was the endangered species that was discussed, and that's what they did to prevent any problems. So I'm familiar with that. So in terms of could you talk a little bit about the septic system? Has the Board of Health reviewed this and signed off on it, or?
So I believe the septic system was just submitted to the Board of Health yesterday, so they haven't had a chance to review or sign off just yet.
Okay. Do any of the commissioners have any questions about the project?
The exclusionary fencing for the turtles, is that, where the silt sock is, the red line, or is that going to be a separate, barrier?
That would be where the silk sock is proposed. We'd be happy to include a silk fence as well, if needed.
Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, it also would have to encompass all of construction too?
Yes, typically, it does, from what I've seen, with NHESP exclusion fences, it covers the entire site. So this area between the construction site and Cross Street would also have to have some sort of fencing up to keep eastern box turtles out. And at the conclusion of work, some sort of fencing or barrier would have to go across the access as well.
That's what I was, yeah,
Yeah,
that's
we'd
where
be
I was
happy to
going.
provide that.
You did,
Yeah.
okay. That was gonna be part of the special conditions, discussion.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
eventually, so, yeah. but
It's
that's-
worth noting that the property is, between the habitat and the property is two relatively busy streets, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's, if a turtle makes it across
Yeah.
that, good luck.
I've found turtles on busy streets.
I know.
Yeah.
They're gonna have to sprint across.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so, and now, so the deal with the Board of Health, that doesn't affect our deliberations?
So if the design changes with requirements from the Board of Health, they would have to come back and seek an amended order of conditions.
Okay.
I just have one question. Mike, did you confirm, so they're proposing like 33% riverfront area disturbance. I believe that's only allowed if the lot is created before 1996, if I'm not mistaken. I could be mistaken on that though. But the commission's only allowed for newer lots to allow up to 10% alteration of the riverfront area. Paul, do you mind elaborating on that?
Yeah, so there's another section of the Wetlands Protection Act that basically on the lower corner of the screen here. I can't quite zoom in. But lots created, existing lots created prior to August 7th, 1996. The commission shall, let me see if I find my notes here. So in accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act's 10.584D, the issuing authority shall allow the construction of a single-family house septic system and driveway on lots recorded before August 7th, 1996, to the maximum extent feasible on existing vacant lots of record. So here, this is an existing vacant lot where we're proposing a single-family house lot to the maximum extent feasible here. We can't exactly, the position of the existing septic system is in the location, the only location of the lot feasible. There's no other, I don't know, Mike, can you move over to the house
Yes.
plan for a second there? So the location of this septic system is in the only location that where we found suitable soils. And we're required to meet the setbacks of the septic system with the house, which is 20 feet, and also the zoning setback requirements to the property lines on Cross Street and Old Ocean Street, which our proposed dwelling is in the only location feasible on this lot, and the septic system is in the only location feasible for this lot to construct a single-family house and driveway and septic system in accordance with the Wetlands Protection Act. So we are going a little bit over the 5,000 square feet or 10%, which is allowed in accordance with the regulations that also Greg DeCesar from DED pointed out in his letter with the file number.
I guess back to the original question, was there any proof of lot, the creation of the lots? I just want to,
I don't have any records from the assessor's office regarding that.
Paul, do you guys have that on file?
Yep, I have the actual
It's-
recorded lots.
It says it was recorded, it was created on March 16th, 1992.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
if there's like a deed or something that
Yeah.
references that, I think it'd probably be worthwhile to include in the filing, but
Yep, I can actually pull up the plan if you want.
otherwise though, I think
Uh,
it's good.
If it's okay if I share my screen.
Yes, let me give you permission here.
So I don't know if everyone can see that.
Yep.
These are the existing lots of record recorded at the registry of deeds.
92, February 92.
There we go.
Yep. 24th, it's almost having its birthday. Okay. Nelson, any other comments, questions from the commissioner? Is there anybody in the audience or Zoom that would like to talk about this project?
I've got one question.
Could you identify yourself, please?
Oh, I'm sorry, Tom Shields, 60 Cross Street in
Okay.
Marshfield. I'm assuming from looking at the diagram that the driveway to the property is going to be on Cross Street, not on Old Ocean Street, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
All right.
One other question. Is there going to be any drilling or blasting in this construction of this?
We do not plan to, no.
Good. Thank you.
Okay. So, questions? Mike, you're all set, Paul? Oh,
Yep.
oh,
One quick thought.
yep.
It could be beneficial to have a revised copy of the site plan provided, one that shows the siltation fence towed in behind the siltation control here, and also showing the line of where the turtle exclusion barrier will be located around the subject property.
You get that, Paul?
Sure, we can provide that.
Okay, thank you. So, Mike, you want to outline the special conditions?
Sure thing. I would suggest the following. General conditions 1 through 18 are standard special conditions. Prior to construction, condition 5 and 2 to have a pre-construction meeting and ensure the site is staked out. During construction, condition 11, ensure best management practices are followed. After construction, condition 1, to file for a certificate of compliance. Erosion control, condition 1, to ensure that erosion control is in place throughout the duration of work, and to observe all comments from Natural Heritage and Endangered Species Program.
Okay, all right. So, if there are no other questions or comments, I'd like to make a motion to issue the orders of conditions with Mike's special conditions as noted. Do I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
aye.
Okay. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you. Have a good night, everyone.
Yep, thank you.
Okay. I'm going to go through the continuations. Once again, the Town of Marshfield DPW ditch clearing will continue to, do we have any progress on that, Mike?
We do not as of this moment. The
Okay.
engineering individual who's working on that project is out. He recently had a daughter, so
Okay.
that will probably be on hold for at least a month.
For a month?
Yes.
So let's move, I move to continue the DPW ditch clearing NOI to what would be the first date in April.
Let me pull out my calendar quickly. That would be the April 2nd meeting.
April 2nd. I move that we continue to April 2nd. May I have a second?
Sec- You can have it.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Then we have 50 Cove Street, 2502. I move to continue that at the request of the applicant to March 5th. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And also at the request of the applicant, SE 423125, 17 Oregon Road, has requested continuance to March 5th. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, under new business, the open space and recreation plan, we're also going to continue to March 5th, at which time the consultant will come in and she has a nice slide deck to encapsulate and synopsize what that's all about. So we will table that. The other business item is 0 Main Street, which, to be clear, we closed and conditioned at the last meeting. Excuse me. Since then, they have been back to the Zoning Board of Appeals, and I watched the meeting. Bert watched the meeting. I don't know if anyone else saw it, probably not, but they are proposing where the detention basin is. Currently, they would be bringing fill in to within 10 feet of the property line. They're now proposing to build a retaining wall so that they will not need as much fill at that point. Do I have that right, Bert?
From what I understand.
Yeah. We haven't seen this on a plan. I'm only raising it because I know it came up at the ZBA meeting. The property that wraps around behind that is conservation property. Directly behind, I think, it's town-owned, and Mass Audubon holds the conservation restriction on it. It would be really great if, in the development of this subdivision, there were some access to that land. With a retaining wall, I don't know how that's going to work, but this particular subdivision plan is going to require a number of waivers from the Planning Commission. One issue is the length of the road, which is completely contrary to planning's regulations. So, you know, maybe there can be some back and forth with planning, and it would be a benefit to the town if, in their resolution of that, we could get some access. I just want to put that out there.
When is their next planning board meeting?
Sometime in April,
Early March.
March,
Early March.
yeah.
So just kind of, it would be nice to, if we could get a heads up on those, like if there's a Zoom or a meeting that's going to affect this project, so Mike, if you maybe could give us just a heads up that
Yeah.
this is going to be a topic of conversation, then, we could Zoom in to
Right.
hear what's going on.
Craig, were you getting at, do you think it'd be worthwhile if, like, some of us spoke up there as kind of to,
You know, I
That's
just,
that.
I didn't think that we would close at our last meeting, but as it played out, we did. So, we don't have any leverage going forward.
Yeah, I think we have to be real careful getting into details, too.
Yeah,
I mean,
because we don't really,
My thought is that maybe we send a letter to the planning board saying that we endorse their efforts to, get access to the conservation
to the
land.
conservation land.
And that as abutters, we would
Right,
like-
we have
would like
standing
them to-
as abutters.
To respect the setbacks.
Yeah. So, I just wanted to, put that out there. I don't know how they're gonna alter this plan, and I'm just acting on the conversation that I listened to in ZBA. But there are gonna be certainly some changes there. So, from, a conservation perspective, and as the abutters, I think, Mike, I will have you write a letter.
Perfect.
To Greg,
I can certainly do that.
just to let them know we're paying attention.
Right.
Now, we discussed this when we closed, but if any of the changes are substantial, right, they're gonna have to,
Yeah, if any of them come under our regs,
Right.
they'll have to
Yep.
come back.
They have to come back.
which, yeah, I
But-
mean, that was kind of what we talked about and
Yeah,
left it up to the applicant, right?
that may not affect, whatever changes they make there may not impact our regs.
Right.
But, yeah, that's why I want to
Okay.
reference it now.
Yeah, we're kind of wearing a different hat. We're wearing
Right.
the abutters hat right now.
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I did learn something which I didn't know, maybe everyone else did, but that the culvert that we approved, the bottomless box culvert, is detrimental to wildlife habitat.
How so?
The predators wait on one side,
Oh, jeez.
and
It's a tough predicament, though, because
Yeah.
the mass stream crossing standards,
right,
that's an optimal crossing.
yep,
It's 4 feet high, 1.2 openness ratio. It's like, what do you?
I know.
What do you? What do you support?
I'm just going to put that out
Yeah,
there.
that's-
The next time we see culverts,
Right, right.
and if there had been a possibility of getting a bridge there,
Right,
that
that
might
would
have
have,
alleviated that. But,
It's also a substantial cost difference, in
Yeah.
my opinion. So.
oh yeah, no, definitely. But that was a learning. I'd never heard anyone specifically say, "Oh, this is disadvantageous to wildlife." So, okay, that's enough. So, Mike, you will prepare a letter
Yes.
for planning.
Perfect.
Okay.
Do a vote on that, or?
Yeah, let's vote. I move that we authorize Administrator Sealy to prepare a letter to the Planning Commission to state our position as abutters regarding potential access to the conservation land surrounding the back of the subdivision.
And setbacks.
And respecting the
right.
setbacks, yes. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So now we are requests for certificates of compliance. The first being, the Green Harbor, the Situate Harbor Marina is Situate Harbor. The Green Harbor Marina is requesting an extension for maintenance dredging. And I move that we vote to issue that extension. Do we do 3 years, Mike?
3 years.
For 3 years. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. SE 422972, 113 Bayberry Road.
No
new
updates.
plan yet.
You can table that if you'd like.
We're gonna continue that one until we get the updated plan. I move to continue for updated plan. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. SE 423088, 389 Arrowhead Road. Do you want to speak on this one, Mike?
Yes. So this project, the homeowners decided that they didn't need to do the complete scope of work. They redid some of the drainage and drainage swales over in the front of the property here. So they didn't get to all of the drainage out back in this back portion of the property, nor do they really have the desire to improve that area at this point. So they're seeking a complete certificate of compliance. I spoke with the engineer who understands that if they do want to continue with that scope of work in the future, they would have to refile the NOI.
Yeah, I remember this one. This was not that long ago.
The one with the really nice backyard.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah, this was my project.
that was yours, yeah. Okay, I move to, do we need to make any accommodation for the fact that they didn't? No, I get, we'll just
Yeah,
issue a complete
typically a
COC and they have to come back if they want to
Exactly.
revisit it. I move to issue a complete COC for SE 423088. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And lastly, SE 423009, 41 South Point Lane. They are asking for an extension. I move to grant a 3-year extension to 41 South Point Lane. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that completes our business. I move to close the Marshfield Conservation Commission public hearing of February 19th, 2025. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.